Unit operations for separation and processing. Separation is necessary in the recovery of reusable and recyclable materials from MSW. MSW থেকে recyclable এবং reusable materials যেই ম্যাটেরিয়ালসগুলো পুনরায় সংস্কার করা যায় এবং পুনরায় ব্যবহার করা যায় সেই ম্যাটেরিয়ালসগুলোকে রিকভারি করার জন্য সেপারেশনটা প্রয়োজন Separation can be accomplished either at the source of generation or at MRFS. Separation টা জেনারেশনের উৎসে source of generation উৎপাদনের উৎসে অথবা MRFS এ সফলভাবে শেষ করা যায় The separation can be accomplished manually or mechanically. Separation টা মানুষের দ্বারা অথবা যন্ত্রপাতির দ্বারা সম্পন্ন করা যায় The current trend is to design material recovery facility based on manual and mechanical separation. A purpose modify the physical characteristics to facilitate removal of desired component কে removal করা সহজতর করার জন্য physical characteristics কে modify করতে হয় modify the physical characteristics to facilitate removal of a desired component modify physical characteristics physical characteristics কে যাতে আমরা desired component কে সহজে remove করতে পারি remove specific components or contaminants specific components or contaminants কে আমরা remove করতে হয় prepare the material for subsequent uses পরবর্তী ব্যবহারের জন্য subsequent uses পরবর্তী ব্যবহারের জন্য materials কে প্রস্তুত করতে হয় size reduction is the process by which as collected materials are mechanically reduced in size reduction হচ্ছে is the process এমন একটা process যার মাধ্যমে collected materials কে mechanically reduce করা হয় Objective is to define a uniform final product that is reduced in size, potentially reducing storage and shipping costs. Objective উদ্দেশ্য is to obtain a uniform final product. একটা uniform final product অর্জন করাটা হচ্ছে উদ্দেশ্য that is reduced in size, potentially reducing storage and shipping costs. Size reduction does not necessarily mean volume reduction. Shredded paper occupies more space than parent stock. Parent stock থেকে shredded papers টা more space টা দখল করে রাখে shredded paper কাটিয়া ফেলা অথবা কেটে ফেলা কাটা ফেলা paper shredded paper কাটিয়ে ফেলা অথবা কাটা ফেলা পেপারস গুলা আমার প্যারেন্ট স্টক থেকে মোর স্পেসটা অকুপাই করে shredders include hammer mill flail mill and usually involve metal parts revolving against one another shredders কুচনো কাটা shredders অন্তর্ভুক্ত করে হ্যামার মিল হাতুড়ির কারখানা হ্যামার মিল ফ্লেল যারা মাড়াই করা ফ্লেল মিল and shredders and usually involve metal parts revolving against one another metal parts যেগুলো হচ্ছে গুণায়মান metal parts গুলো আছে যেটা একটা সাপেক্ষে আরেকটা গুণায়মান সেগুলা আমার shredder ইনক্লুড করে Shutters include hammer mill, flail mill, and shear shutter, and usually involve metal parts revolving against one another. Glass crushers, wood grinders, grinder চূর্ণকারী, wood grinder যেগুলো কাঠরে চূর্ণ করে, এই ধরনের গ্রাইন্ডারকে wood grinder বলা হয়. Wood grinders include chippers such as local tree cutters. Use local tree cutters কে wood grinders বলা হয়. তাহলে wood grinders include chippers such as local tree cutters used to reduce the branches to chip, and tub grinders এটাকে ব্যবহার করা হয় to reduce the branches, ব্রাঞ্চগুলোকে আমার চিপ আকারে আমার reduce করা হয়. And tub grinders, wood grinders include chippers such as local tree cutters used to reduce the branches to chips, and tub grinders. Once the wood is broken up, the finer pieces can be used as raw material for composting, and the larger pieces can be used as a fuel. যখন আমার wood টা আমার টুকরো টুকরো করা হয়, the finer piece ছোট আকারের পিসগুলা যেগুলো আমার কম্পোস্টিং এর জন্য র ম্যাটেরিয়ালস হিসেবে ব্যবহার করা হয়, এবং লার্জার পিসটা ফুয়েল হিসেবে ব্যবহার করা হয়. Examples of shredding equipment used to reduce the size of solid waste: hammer mill, এটা হচ্ছে hammer mill, এটা হচ্ছে flail mill, এটা হচ্ছে shear shredder. Screening is a unit operation used to separate mixtures of materials of different sizes into two or more size fractions by means of screen surfaces. Screening টা হয় unit operation used to separate mixtures of materials of different sizes into two or more size fractions by means of screen surface. Mixtures of materials কে separate করা হয় বিভিন্ন সাইজে into two or more size fractions, দুই অথবা তার অধিক সাইজ ফ্র্যাকশনসে আমার ভাগ করা হয় by means of screen surfaceর মাধ্যমে. Screening is the unit operation used to separate mixtures of materials of different sizes into two or more size fractions by means of screen surfaces. Objective is to, এটার উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে remove oversized material. স্ক্রিনিং এর উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে oversized material কে remove করা. remove undersized material কে remove করা. separate into light and heavy fractions. light হালকা এবং ভারী fractions খণ্ডগুলোকে পৃথক করা. separate into light combustible paper, যেটা হচ্ছে দাহ্য যেমন কাগজ, এবং নন কম্বাস্টিবল গ্লাস অদাহ্য যেমন গ্লাস, এরকম ফ্র্যাকশনস আমার ভাগ করা হয়. স্ক্রিনিং ডিভাইসেস ইনক্লুড, স্ক্রিনিং ডিভাইসের অন্তর্ভুক্ত vibrating screens to remove undersized material from a source separated and commingled MSW, vibrate from side to side. Vibrating screen একটা ডিভাইস to remove undersized material, যেটার মাধ্যমে আমার undersized materials গুলোকে remove করা হয় from source separated থেকে and commingled MSW. commingled মানে হচ্ছে মিশ্রিত MSW. vibrate from side to side, যেটা হচ্ছে side to side থেকে vibrate করা হয়. vibrating screens to remove undersized materials from some source separated and commingled MSW, vibrate from side to side. Rotary screens, trommel screen, rotary screen, trommel, rotary যেটা হচ্ছে আমার rotate করে এরকম হতে পারে. rotary screens, trommel screen, trommel মানে বাধা দেওয়া, অগ্রগতি রুদ্ধ করা. trommel screen screen, trommel screen, separate into several size fractions. Rotary screen, trommel বাধা দেওয়া, অগ্রগতি রুদ্ধ করা. Trommel screen, separate in several size fractions. Rotary screen and trommel screen এর মাধ্যমে several size fractions আমার separate করা হয়. These screens sets of parallel horizontal shafts equipped with interlocking lobed discs. Screening is a unit operation used to separate mixtures of materials of different sizes into two or more size fractions by means of screen surface. Objective is to remove undersized material, remove oversized material, remove undersized material, separate into light combustible paper and heavy non-combustible gas fractions. Screening devices include vibrating screens to remove undersized materials from source, separated and commingled MSW vibrate from side to side. Rotary screen, trommel screen, separate in several size fraction. This screen sets of parallel horizontal shaft equipped with interlocking lobed discs. Other separation processes. Density separation, air classification is the unit process used to separate light materials such as paper and plastics from heavy metals such as metal based on weight difference in the air stream. Density separation is the unit of separation density separation unit process used to separate যার মাধ্যমে separate light material, যার মাধ্যমে হালকা ম্যাটেরিয়ালস গুলো যেমন কাগজ, প্লাস্টিক এরকম হালকা জিনিস এবং থেকে হেভি মেটালস যেমন মেটাল based on weight difference in the air stream. Density separation is the subunit separation used to separate light materials such as paper and plastic from heavy materials such as metals from heavy materials. Heavy materials যেমন metal, heavy materials থেকে আমার heavy materials such as metals, heavy materials such as metals থেকে আমার light materials গুলোকে পৃথক করার জন্য density separation ব্যবহার করা. Density separation process used to separate light materials such as paper and plastic from heavy metals. Separation in the unit process used to separate light materials other separation processes. Other separation process. Density separation is the unit process used to separate light material such as paper, plastic from heavy materials such as metals based on weight difference in the air stream. In solid waste, the light fraction is typically organic, while the heavy fraction is typically inorganic. In a solid waste, the light fraction is typically organic, while the heavy fraction is typically inorganic. In solid waste, the light fraction is typically organic. solid waste মধ্যে the light fraction is typically organic. Light fraction যেগুলো আছে সেগুলো হচ্ছে typically organic, while the heavy fraction is typically inorganic. Used to separate glass from plastic. Used to separate করা হয় গ্লাসকে from plastic থেকে in a commingled situation, to মিশ্রিত অবস্থা থেকে. Other separation process. Density separation, or classification, is the unit process used to separate light materials such as paper, plastic from heavy metals such as metals based on weight difference in the air stream. In solid waste, the light fraction is typically organic, while the heavy fraction is typically used to separate glass from plastic in a commingled situation. Other separation processes. Density separation, air classification. Density separation, air classification, is the unit process used to separate light materials such as paper, plastic from heavy metals such as metal based on weight difference in the air stream. In solid waste, the light fraction is typically organic, while the heavy fraction is typically used to separate glass from in a commingled situation. Typically, our classification system used to separate solid waste into heavy and light fractions. Light and heavy fractions. Magnetic separation is the process by which ferrous metals are separated from the waste stream utilizing material principles. Magnetic separation is the process by which ferrous metals are separated from the waste stream utilizing magnetic principles. Used to separate tin cans. Tin is a patro, dhatu patro. Used to separate tin cans from aluminium in a commingled situation. Misrito used to separate tin from aluminium থেকে tin cans কে separate করে in a commingled situation, মিশ্রিত অবস্থা থেকে. Densification, compaction. Densification is a unit operation used to increase the density of the material. Densification এর মাধ্যমে materials এর density টা আমার বৃদ্ধি করা হয় so that it can be stored, যাতে এটা আমার store করা হয়, সংগ্রহ করা and transport করা যায় more cheaply, and as a means of preparing densified refuse derived fuels, আবর্জনা নিষ্পন্ন জ্বালানি fuels, and indicate ballards and can crushers. Ballards include balers, bosta and can crushers. Unit operations for separation. Separation is necessary in the recovery of reusable and recyclable material from MSW. Separation can be accomplished either at the source of generation or at MRFS. The separation can be accomplished manually or mechanically. The current trend is to design material recovery facility based on both manual and mechanical separation. The purpose: modify the physical characteristics to facilitate removal of desired component, remove specific component or contaminate, prepare the material for subsequent use. Besides, exercise is the process by which as collected materials are mechanically reduced in size. Objective is to obtain a uniform final product that is reduced in size, potentially reducing storage and shipping cost. Size reduction does not necessarily mean volume reduction. Shredder paper occupies more space than parent stock. Shredders include hammer mill, flail mill, and shear usually involve metal parts revolving against one another. Can crusher, glass crushers. Wood grinders include chippers such as local recorders used to reduce the branches to chips, and top grinders. Once the wood is broken, the finer piece can be used as raw materials for composting, and the larger pieces can be used as a fuel. Screening. Screening is a unit operation used to separate mixtures of materials of different size into two or more size fractions. Maintenance of screen surface. Objective is to remove oversized material, remove undersized material, separate into light and heavy fraction. Screening separate into light combustible paper and heavy non-combustible glass fraction. Separating screening device include vibrating screens to remove undersized material from source, separate and commingle damaged vibrate from size to size. Rotary screen, Trammel screen, separate in several size fraction. Disc screen sets of parallel horizontal shapes equipped with interlocking loft discs. Other separation processes. Density separation, yard classification, is the unit process used to separate light materials such as paper and plastic from heavy materials such as metal based on weight difference in the yards. In the solid waste, the light fraction is typically organic, while the heavy fraction is typically used to separate glass from plastic in a commingled situation. Magnetic separation is the separation by which ferrous metals are separated from the waste stream, utilizing magnetic used to separate income from aluminum in a commingled situation. Densification compaction is a unit process operation used to increase the density of the material so that it can be stored and transferred more cheaply, and as means of preparing densified refuse derived fuels, and include ballards, can crushers, ballard can crushers. Unit operation for separation and processing purpose. Size reduction, screening, other separation process.